All right, so tonight, it's the 8th of May. I think we can start right now. So we're just going to go on. I'm just going to give everybody sort of an update what's happening to our market. And many of you would have known that our KLSE has hit 1600. And looking back on the episode 3, now tonight is episode 4, many of you would have seen what we have done was to showcase to you some of the stocks that we previously talked about and how well fair. I think that's only fair to show that things that we talk about, some of them do come to be reliable using the Pentagon Guider, and that's hope that many of you would also head over to the Malaysian Warrant website, hit map, and look at some of the stock trade idea, which in mind, you can check out the filter, looking at the green Pentagon or red Pentagon. But if not, you don't have much time, tonight we will share with you a couple of trades looking beyond our shores, the foreign shores, where you have a better chance, right, considering the market where we are going, to give you the kind of visibility, right, into the Hong Kong Stock Exchange market, all right, Hong Kong stock, and also at the US market with warrant, which is provided from the Macquarie Malaysia in here. Okay, so that's where we are heading to. So tonight, thank you for coming. So what we're going to do now, before we bring in the host, my co-host Afid, just want to give you the warrant shout-out contest, which is sponsored by Macquarie Malaysia. So it's 50 ringgit voucher each. I think many of you would have known. Just make sure you tag 3 fans and mention those 3 Macquarie warrant discussed by the speaker too. And I think Afid, when he comes in, we'll talk about this too. And we will contact the winner through FB Messenger in here. Okay, so the tip for tonight, let's start off with, is, as we have said before, the KLSE continue to head higher in here, both on the, I suppose, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Now, the US side has come down a bit, but the break off from the downward channel, which means we are in the stage 4, that has sort of started to move back up, right? And of course, many people thought about, sell in May and go away, which usually means that market usually gentle, but not this time. For year 2024, it did behave differently because what we have seen in the month of April, the US market sold off. So for the month of the KLSE, what we have is this nice little what we call a schematic here. I want to share with you here that this line where the market start to break up, this was where we saw this 1560, okay, 1560 was this level in here. And I think you need to apply some sort of discipline right now. How would you take on to the market? But of course, each individual shares will be different. So that's why we're going to be looking at them when you apply the Macquarie warrant to trade using a leverage product in here. So this is the tip for tonight, buying at new high, which is the ideal point. Now, what I've said, the chart that you see here, best time to buy, refers to the indices. Okay, so if you look at the FBM 70 and the FBM small cap stocks, most of them are already gone up to this level in here. So a good way is to look for a pullback right now. Okay, so that's the key word here. Look for a pullback, and then before you head in to the next stock in here. And again, a reminder, year 2024 is the year of the dragon, and it's still pretty much been correct since the January month, which dragon registered one of the highest significant return that we've seen so far in here. All right. So let's take a look at the last episode using the tools that we have for our premium members, the VSA 360 dashboard. You could see from here, we did talk about utilities and 2 stocks that heavily mentioned was Bursa and MRCB. Bursa is more in between like the consumer product. MRCB is construction in here, but one of the sectors that coming out is the utilities. Okay, utilities in here. So these are the 2 stocks that done pretty well that we've seen so far in here. Let's take a look at what we had last week when we were talking about it. Now, last week, 2 weeks ago, the last episode, you can see from here, let me just draw these schematics, at least to give you some references. This is where we see a market really moving in a sideways market. And of course, the signaling point is where you want to sort of see the market break above the what we call a side congestion range in here. There were green pentagon, no doubt, came back down, tested just below the 7 ringgit 40. This is the Bursa shares. And of course, many of you would have known what we have seen here. And let me just show you what has happened. All right. And you can see this was really, so let me just erase this, and I can't bring this chart down here, so I have to erase this. And you can see this is where we talk about what we have just said here, right? And you can see even at earlier point, the Pentagon guider came in much earlier here. Okay, so you can see here, this is where let me just type it out here, green Pentagon, okay, came in about 5 or 6 bar before the market started to move up. And of course, later on, you will notice also the increasing volume, which today, Bursa closed almost 1.8% up. Now, that's, of course, no surprises because we are seeing foreign funds coming in here. And when foreign fund comes in, they got billions of dollars. And even today on the news, the KLSE actually break above the 2 trillion market cap, which is a very good sign. And Bursa is definitely one of those large cap stocks which actually move up. So paying attention to the green Pentagon using the warrant heat map in does pay dividend over there. All right. So that's the first one, Bursa. And next we have MRCB. So you can see from here, right, very similar. Let me just erase this again. And MRCB is sort of, let me just delete this. And you can see MRCB was moving in a nice uptrend channel in here. Of course, no doubt, eventually it did turn red Pentagon, but guess what? It just turned green Pentagon also to yesterday, right? You see here, nice one done. So you're in for the right time if you are into the MRCB mother share in here. All right. So that's what I want to recap from the last episode that we have. So you at least have some sort of references, like some of the stocks we'll be talking tonight, which will be the Hang Seng stock. So right now, I want to introduce my co-host, right, Afid, to come into and talk a bit about the what we have in mind. Afid, go ahead.
All right. All right, thank you, Martin. Okay, thank you all for tuning in tonight, and welcome to the 4th session of Warrants Wednesday series. So my name is Afiq, and I'm from Macquarie Warrants, Malaysia. So in today's episode, we will be reviewing some Malaysian stock performance, which Martin had just explained to you guys, and followed by some case studies over the Hong Kong stocks and also the associated warrants, as well as introducing you all today to warrants over the US indices, namely the Dow Jones, Nasdaq 100, and also the S&P 500 index. So I hope you all can pay full attention to today's session, especially on the warrants that we will be discussing over today, in order for you to stand a chance to win a GrabFood voucher worth RM50. So all you need to do is to be the first 10 participants to tag 3 friends and name 3 warrants that we discussed tonight. So let's look at some of the stock performance that we discussed in previous episodes. But before I proceed, just some disclaimer that the investment products, including warrants, are subject to significant investment risk, including the possible loss of principal invested, and past performance is not indicative of future performance. And additionally, I also want to emphasize that examples and materials quoted in this presentation are intended solely for educational and illustration purposes only. So this should not be taken as investment views, strategies, or recommendations to conclude any transactions. All right. So Martin explained just now about Bursa and MRCB. So I agree, Martin. These stocks has rallied a lot recently. But let's look at how the call warrants of this stock has performed. So Martin, could you share your screen? Let's first look at Bursa's performance. Oh, no worries. I can share my screen, Martin, actually. All right. Yes. So let's see how the call warrant over Bursa did compared to its mother share. So let's look at 24th April. So as of 24th April, the Bursa shares closed at RM 7 ringgit and 46 cent, 7 ringgit and 46 cent. And if you hover your mouse to the right, you can see that the Bursa share price actually rose. Let's say to 3 of May. So the closing is at 7 ringgit and 68 cent. So the increase from 7 ringgit and 46 cent to 7 ringgit and 68 cent actually translates to an increase of almost 3%. But simultaneously within the same period, you could also see that the call warrant, right, the call warrant on the 24 April at 8 cents increased to about 9.5 cents. So this actually translates to an increase of 19% compared to the 3% increase of its mother share. So yep, and you can see that the past few days, Bursa has further increased its share price, with the share traded at around 7 ringgit and 91 cents as of today's closing. And so it is the call warrant. So it is the call warrant that tracks the movement of underlying price. So this actually highlights that small percentage movement of the underlying can actually lead to a large percentage changes in the warrant. So this is what we call as the gearing effect. The gearing effect, and it's one of the reasons why investors prefer to trade warrants. Okay. The next stock that the next underlying that we discussed just now is MRCB. So comparing the underlying versus the warrants value of the first week of April. All right, so you can see probably between here and here. So MRCB actually closed at 67.5 cents on 8th of April, and on the graph it actually peaked at 71.5 on 12th of April. So before it continues to decline. So this movement here actually translates to an increase of about 6%, right? So at the same time, the warrant bid price closed at about 7.5 cents here on the 8th of April, and it increased to 9.5 cents on the 12th of April. So this actually results to an increase of more than 26% in the warrants bid price. So this is within the same period. So now investors need to understand that although warrants are able to magnify potential returns using by its effective gearing, it could also mean that the risks are actually magnified as well. All right, I think I'll pass the floor back to Martin to bring through our sector overview. And afterwards, I will go through the individual warrants of each underlying. And just a reminder for you guys to pay full attention to the warrants names that we'll be discussing later. Okay, Martin, I'll pass over to you.
All right, thank you. Behind it was because the news, everybody was already saying, no, Hang Seng and the China share has been down for some time. It has been down for some time in here, so it's really been sideways market. We will look at the chart, but there are many of them doing very well. But one of the reasons that is doing very well, I think behind the tech stock was the China EV earnings that came out. Now, this news came out on the first week of May, right? And you can see prices that then we have the Cherry are throwing prices. So I was at the Nisa and I still have it, all right? So I took it that hardly any people in there. Everyone is like crowding in the BYD. See why? You know what we see in the EV world, right? Teslas are also throwing price, but that has made the sales to be much improved. Okay, the sales to be improved. So if you look back now, remember the news first came out, right, jumped 2%. Let me just erase this. Was on 1st of May. You can see this was the 5th of May. So it is somewhere around here. Okay. 1st of May will be somewhere around here. But you notice just in the last week of April, the green pentagon, all right, broke through and then golden thing. When I take uptrust, you can see this 3-bar overtake the last top resistance. So because of breaking up that top last resistance, right, there's a significant shift in the overall background that we've seen. These are strong sign of strength. Okay, we've seen strong sign and strength. That's why tonight we'll be talking some of the Hong Kong stock index, like what we just said, for those taxi shares and some of the electric vehicle shares in here. All right, so take note. So on the backdrop, you can see also we have this market also range bound. All right, this is we call the stage 1. A little bit of education, of course, like stage 1 accumulation. So let me just write this too, right? And then what we have right now is a so-called push it up. Okay, this is the beautiful markup, what we're seeing right now. So with this kind of market, we likely to see more upside for a lot of the components that we talk about in here. Okay, so that's just a keep note. Now, first one, I'm just going to share with you in here. If you go down to Hang Seng, okay, there is a couple of stocks in the associated, my warrant heat map chart here. Okay, so you have it here. So you got to go through. So my co-host Afik is going to be right, and there. Warrant in here, right, Afik? Let me just bring this up here. Okay. I left it too long, and I'll put it up again. So you got the Hang Seng chart. Okay, there you go. All right, so we have many call and put warrant. Maybe Afik can give a bit of insight to what we should look for.
All right, let's go to Alibaba, Martin. Let's look at Alibaba. Call warrants of Alibaba.
Oh, we go to Alibaba? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about Alibaba first. Okay, since we're going to talk about Hang Seng, talk about Alibaba. Now, Alibaba is here. Let me just give you a bit of a background, like what you say. And you can see pretty much it is in a sideways market in here, and then the market goes through this range, and then all here, then the market broke out again in the early stages. So very similar to what we saw also for the Hang Seng here. Okay, let me just bring out the warrant heat map for Alibaba. All right, so you can see this is the chart here, and there you go. So we have a put and a call warrant. All right.
Okay, Martin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, proceed.
All right. So if you look at the warrant heat map, it shows you two pairs of associated warrants, a call and a put warrant over Alibaba. So the call warrant Alibaba C35 currently has largest bid and offers volume at 3 million units as of today. So it actually allows investors to enter and exit the trade easily, even if they or other investors are queuing to buy or sell a sizable number of warrants. So it's important for investors to understand that a warrant with high trading volume may not always be the right choice, and it doesn't actually guarantee that it will be more liquid. So warrants with good liquidity generally have large volumes on both the bid and ask price with quantities such as 3 million and 4 million. So in this case, Alibaba C35 has the highest liquidity at 3 million units on the bid and the ask. So other than that, this warrant also, if you can see the heat map, has a delta of 36.6. of today's closing. So what this simply means is that this warrant has approximately a 36.6% probability that it will expire in the money, or in some way you could say that it has value at expiry, and a 63.4% chance that it will expire worthless. Okay. So it is also worth noting that Alibaba C35 is one of the sensitive call warrants in the market currently at 22 to 23 ticks, Sensi. Which means that the warrants will move by 1 tick for every 22 to 23 ticks movement in the underlying share. All right. On the other hand, we also have a put warrant over Alibaba, which is the Alibaba H1B. So currently the only put warrant over this underlying in the market. So a put warrant moves in the opposite direction of its underlying. So investors may also use put warrant as a tool to hedge against any downside risk in their portfolio. All right, Martin, back to you.
Okay, what we looking next we have is the BYD. All right, so the stock we are looking at is BYD, and again move those. So I'll just have to redraw them again. Okay, and there you go. So here, so again on the 28th of April, when you first saw that green pentagon, and BYD again playing into the EV space, which I think getting a lot. This is a nice pullback here. So definitely investors who really want to trade these shares, I think can look at BYD. So let me just and let's take it out. Right, you've seen the chart. Let's take a look. All right, Afid.
All right. Thanks, Martin. So, okay, if you take on the underlying stock index, the BYD there, will show you a list of warrants that we have over BYD. All right. So, currently the BYD C28 is the most sensitive call warrant among its peers at about 9 tick sensitivity. And further, it also has the longest expiry date among its peers. So you can see that the last trading date is at 30th of October 2024, but the expiry date is actually at 4 November 2024. So investors are actually encouraged to choose longer dated warrants because it minimizes the impact of time decay, and also it exhibits lower effective gearing levels than the shorter dated warrants. So if you can see that BYD C28 also has a effective gearing of 4.3 times. Okay, so an effective gearing actually indicate that the percentage change in the price of a warrant relative to a 1% change in the underlying. So a 4.3 times effective gearing tells you that a 1% move in the BYD share price actually results in a approximately about 4.3% move in the warrant's price. Okay. All right. Martin, I actually want to explain further on time decay using a warrants calculator. So maybe you can go to under warrant tools.
Under warrant tool, yes.
Yep, and then you can go to warrant calculator.
Warrant calculator, and
right.
Look for BYD.
Yes, you can look for BYD. Okay, so I explained just now that investors are actually encouraged to choose longer dated warrants because it minimizes the impact of time decay. So I want to put to discuss more on time decay. So okay, you're in the warrants calculator right now. So if investors such as yourself who wants to seek a close estimate of time decay can actually use this tool. Okay, it requires only 3 inputs. So the first input, if you go to input field, Martin.
Which one?
So okay, here you can just stop here.
Yeah.
The input field.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So if you go to the first input field, this is where you actually input the underlying assets projected movement. So maybe you can put on a projection of where BYD would be in 2 days. Like if there is news or if there's annual report. Yeah, let's say 250. Let's say that there'll be a big news on BYD, and you have a projection that BYD price would go at 250. And the second part is the date. The date is the date where you intend to sell your warrants, sell back your warrant. So probably like in 2 days, like maybe let's go at 10 May. So you intend to sell your warrant on 10 May, and you estimate that the warrant price would go to 250. Okay. And also the last one is your view of the warrant's implied
250.
volatility. Yeah. The last one is your view of the warrant's implied volatility. So a high implied volatility means the price of the warrant is also higher. So if it's increased, if your underlying price is increased, then your implied volatility should follow suit. So let's go for maybe 50% of implied volatility.
50%, huh? Okay.
Yeah, go 50. So this is just an estimate. So just to show you guys how to use the calculator to calculate on a warrant's time decay. Okay, so you can see that the underlying change price percentage is at 12.24%, and the warrant bid price is increased by 61.4% to 23 cents. So the delta would be 67.6%, which is 67.6% in the money. Okay, so that's how you utilize this warrant calculator tool. Okay. All right, Martin, I think we can go to the next underlying, which is
Okay, good.
Maple.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. The next stock that we have in the list is Meituan. Now, Meituan, I believe, is an e-commerce, and this one is straight like an arrow. So if you just draw the trend line from here, right, many of you would have realized this is still in a nice up stage, nice up stage, stage 2, right? The green pentagon again came a bit earlier. Now it's like pullback in here. I think if you just look for good support around the 110 level there, right, if the market were to turn back. Now, just take note, the Hang Seng market now starting to pull back. It's been up and wait for the pullback. Look for a sign of strength in here, and that's where you want to be buying. So let's take a look at Meituan. All right, let me just get the Malaysia warrant here. Okay. Oh, let me just go back here. I'm trying to get my chart. All right. So let me just scroll back here, go to the heat map, warrant heat map, and type May.
Okay.
Okay, we just wait for the page to open up first. Okay, there you go.
All right. Okay, so Meituan. So you can see there's 2 call warrants and 1 put warrant there. So the first call warrant, if you can look at the delta, it's actually high in delta. And as we discussed earlier, delta that is high, for example, a 67.6% delta means that this warrant has approximate 67.6% probability that it will expire in the money, meaning it has value at expiry. Okay. And meanwhile, Meituan C28 has like 13.4%. Sorry, Meituan C28 is actually 12.7% out of the money because the exercise price, which is currently which is at Hong Kong dollar 130 Hong Kong dollar, is is bigger than the underlying closing of 113.5 Hong Kong dollar as of today lah. So, and also the Meituan C28 is the longest dated warrant in the market, expiring on 4th November with its last trading date on 30th October. All right, Martin, let's proceed to the next one.
Next one is Xiaomi. Now, we all know Xiaomi is a phone player, right? Making phone. Plus year, December, they launched the Xiaomi SU7. Of course, you all heard good stories as well as bad stories, but right now they are an EV player. Again, very you can see the same state response and then look for. So let me just bring up the chart right now. The heat map first for Xiaomi. Okay. Click on that one. Okay, there you go. All right, so we got a bit more with Xiaomi.
Okay, so as you can see, there are actually 3 call warrants and 2 put warrants on display on the warrant heat map over Xiaomi. Okay, so the first call warrant on display is actually it's low in delta, and it will be expiring soon on the 4th of June, while the second call warrant on display is high in delta, with the mother share at 19.10 Hong Kong dollar, which trades above the warrant's exercise price of 16 Hong Kong dollar. So which means that this call warrant is in the money, and it tends to have a higher absolute price compared to other warrants in the market. And as of today, this warrant closing bid price is at 25.5 cents. Okay. On the other hand, we have Xiaomi C31. Okay, Xiaomi C31, which starts to expire on 4th of November. So this warrant currently has one of the lowest absolute price in the market, with a bid price of 16.5 cents as of today's closing. Okay, and now let's look at the puts. The first put warrant on display will be expiring soon on 4th of June, and it is currently worthless, with the exercise price at 12 Hong Kong dollar, which is way further from where the mother share is trading at. And on the other hand, you have Xiaomi H9, which is longer in tenor, expiring on 4th of November with a delta of 15.1%. And it's actually traded at a bid price of 4 cents as of today's closing. And currently, this is the only active put warrant in the market for this underlying, aside from the expiring warrant. Okay. Kevin, Martin, I think we can move on.
Okay, take a look at the US market right now as we talk about foreign. Now, you all have noticed the Fed meetings, right, that came out bound, right? So a lot of the bad news has already been, the job numbers will be good. And such that inflation will be high, so they may not cut interest rate. But what has comes out is that really moved the market that we've seen 2 nights ago was the Apple that much in terms of their iPhone in China didn't hit so badly after all. It's just that it's not growing as fast as it compared to Nvidia, Amazon, and Meta, but still it is considered still to be growing. So what they did was it planned a stock buyback or share buyback, which was one of the biggest, and you could see the stock just jump out from the gate and start to gap up. And you can see a lot of technology stocks are going there. So with that in mind, we have to look at the US index, all right? If you look at the US index from the VSA 360, you have seen that XLK and the index stocks are ready to move higher. So what I want to share with you is the S&P 500 in here before we get down to the warrant. So let me just the framing of the chart here. So you can see right here, we have this the associated call warrant. All right, let me bring up the associated call warrant. Okay, so S&P 500. Click on that one. Okay, one more time. Okay, let me just wait.
Okay, Martin, where are we now? All right. So if you can see, yep. Sorry, if you can see my my slide, my screen. Macquarie Warrant is actually the first and only issuer to issue warrants over the U.S. indices, with coverage over 3 U.S. indices, namely the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 is actually widely regarded as the best single gauge of the large cap U.S. equities, while the NDX includes the 100 of the largest U.S. and international non-financial companies listed on the Nasdaq, which includes companies such as Amazon, Apple, and Netflix, among others. So the Dow Jones, on the other hand, is price-weighted measures of 30 U.S. blue chips companies covering all industries, except for transportation and utilities. Okay, for warrants over the U.S. indices, we are actually tracking price of index futures contract, which changes on a quarterly basis, with their expiry dates falling on every third Friday of every third calendar month in the quarter. So warrants over U.S. indices currently tracks their respective June 2024 futures contract prices, and will continue to do so until the next rollover date. Okay, Martin, do you mind if I
Yeah,
proceed?
go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Martin.
I got the connection back here because one of we switch over to another line.
Okay, thanks, Martin. I'll just go ahead. So where I am right now is at index warrants page. So this is the Dow Jones page where it defines what the Dow Jones index is and what consists of the Dow Jones. And also you have the associated warrants here. You have Dow Jones EE and HD, which is this call warrant and put warrant. And you also have the chart, the Dow Jones chart. Okay. Right. And if you slide further, you can also see a Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 index. So you could actually just explore our website to look further into more information on the index warrant. Right. So where I'm going to bring you next is to actually our live matrix. Okay. Right. For some of you who did not attend the previous session of when I explained on live matrix, the live matrix is actually an important warrant tool for both index and stock warrants. It's linked to Macquarie's market making system and shows you where the warrant and offer price will be based on various price points of the underlying stocks or index. So the live matrix can actually be accessed via our homepage or warrant tools, the warrant tools section. So click warrant tools and just click the live matrix plus and it'll bring you here. So what I did was I searched for SP500 C38. So I'm going to give an example of SP500 C38. So let's look at how we can utilize live matrix for call warrants. Okay. So suppose that you want to know where the price of SP500 C38 will be when the SP500 June futures trade at around 5,222, which is around here. Okay. From the table, assuming that the June future is currently at 5215, which is around here, you could see that the warrant price will be at 45.5 cents on the bid and 46 cents on the offer. Now, if the index futures level increases and trades to 5225, the bid price will then be at 47.5 and the ask price will be at 48.5. So that's how you actually look at live matrix and you forecast on where the prices will be. Okay. So for put warrant, the live matrix are a bit different. It's a bit different. So the price of put warrant increases as the index declines. Okay. So we have an example here, SP500H41. Okay. So when the June futures trade below 5,200 level, so let's see. Okay. From the table, so assuming that the June future is currently at around 5215, should be somewhere around here, around in this blue box. If the index futures is at around 5215, you could see that the warrant price will be at 9 cents on the bid and 9.5 cents on the offered. Now, if the index futures level decreases and trade to say 5,200 level. So somewhere around here. Okay, somewhere around here. Maybe around 519.5 on the bid. So the warrant price will actually increase from 9 cents to 9.5 cents on the bid, and 9.5 to 10 cents on the offer. So from here you can see that a put warrant actually price tends to increase when the underlying price decreases. So a live matrix, it actually helps to plan your exit and your entry for any warrants beforehand. And another useful feature for live matrix is that it allows investors to see when the issuer is on a tight or wide spread. So if you see the spread on live matrix are larger than the usual minimum at 5 cents, so this is at 5 cents between 9 to 9.5. This is at 5 cents. So let me give you an example of some call warrant that is on the, or any warrant, for example. Okay, so if you see there, 0.10.5 cent at 12 cents, so this is there's a gap of more than half a cent. So it means that the market maker is actually unable to provide the tight spread on a warrant, and you should be exercising caution as you will be incurring additional cost to trade. So if you constantly use the live matrix, you should remember to click on the refresh button to get the most up-to-date warrants price. Okay. All right. I would actually want to proceed to explain more on our other warrant tools. So now I'm using the Dow Jones. We have two Dow Jones call here, Dow Jones CE and Dow Jones CE. So where I am right now is at warrants comparison page. So how do I get here? I just press this button and it gets me here. And what I have to do is I just find the underline and tick on the warrants that I want to compare. That I think that for as an investor, you want to compare warrants to compare the warrants that you want to invest in. So for example, you click CD and also CE. All right. So comparing, let's compare the exercise price. So you have DGIACE, which is at 40,500, and DGIACD at 43,000. Okay, so this is higher in exercise price. Expiries are the same, 24th June expiries. Ratios are the same. Money-wise, CE is 3.6% more out of the money. It's closer to being in the money compared to DJCD at 9.2%, whereas the bid price for CE is higher. It has a higher absolute price compared to DJCD. So this is where actually investors make decision on whether which warrant they want to invest in. Okay. And you could also compare between the delta. DJCD has actually lower delta than CE. And other thing you could compare is the effective gearing. So DJCD has a higher effective gearing than CE. So from here you could see that an effective gearing is leverage exposure. So an effective gearing of say 25.5 times tells you a move of 1% in Dow Jones is equal to 25.5% move in your warrant price. Okay. All right, Martin, I believe I can pass back to you.
Okay. Now, just now I was going to talk about the chart. So let me just get back to the chart and get the screen back. I was sort of pushed out just now by the connection. It seems that the one online. Now, just now we are looking at S&P 500 that we have here. I was drawing the lines. As you could see, this is, really up move. And one of the stock that pops up in the so-called call warrant was C38, right? Afid, you going to comment on this, C38?
Yep. So C38, you can see that it has a sensitivity of 3.46 and a last trading date of 20 June. So currently, we only our warrants over the US listeners are June expiries, and also you could see that the effective gearing is 16.9 times, and it has a delta of 46.6%. Okay, Martin.
Okay. All right. Next one is Dow Jones. Now, Dow Jones already turned green Pentagon much earlier because of the volume, the sufficient enough. Now it's really the push up. So let's take a look at Dow Jones where it is. DJ. Okay. So there are CE and HE. Maybe Afiq can put some insights to this.
Okay, so you can compare between, actually you can't compare because these are two different warrants, Martin. So DJ CE is a call warrant and HE is a put warrant. Okay. CE has a sensitivity of 82.6 whereas HE is a put warrant. It has 121 ticks. So currently we are the only issuer to issue warrants over Dow Jones as well. Okay, so Martin, over to you.
All right, so we have done all the stocks for tonight for the Warrant Wednesday, our fourth session. So for the Hong Kong stock, we look at Alibaba, BYD, Meituan, and Xiaomi. For the US index, we covered S&P 500 and Dow Jones. Now, of course, one of the benefits of structured warrant is the small investment. As I said before, you don't have to have 10 or 20,000 US dollar to buy the Dow Jones. You can have an exposure on the Dow Jones for a fraction of the price and access to the local and foreign asset, which we talk about. It's a good tool. Check out the Malaysian Warrant heat map on the Malaysian Warrant website in here. Helps you to do that, right? Now, remember, you need to post the comment to facebook.com/Martin Tiepong. That's always been the rules of the shout out contest. I hope the members who are listening will know that in here, right? So all in one comment out there, all right? So so that's how you're going to get the 10 winners for tonight, and we will text you on your Facebook's Messenger, nothing else, okay? So we I think Afiq covered this already, so I think I'll talk about this again. And of course, for those of you who like to learn more, there's this person here, and we have the Telegram on the Malaysian Warrant. So special thank tonight. So let me just go over to the Malaysian Warrant website here, and just on top here, if I'm mistaken, let me just go up a bit here. Yep, that's the, or you can go to the Telegram, hit that one. Okay. And that will take you to the Malaysian.com Telegram here that you can get all the, join them. And these information are updated by the analysts that you have there. All right. So if you need to talk to Afiq Suhaimi, that's the phone number, 0320598840. And a special thanks to Malaysia Warrant, all right, Macquarie Warrant Malaysia, for sponsoring the 10 winners for tonight. So that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for coming. All right, Afiq, any last words before we break off here?
Yeah, so if you have any questions or
that's right. Yeah, we have the Q&A. That's right. So let's start off with the Q&A for the last 5 minutes. Any questions from the audience? I know many of the audience have submitted their shout out in here.
Have we gotten 10, Martin?
Sorry?
Have we gotten 10 comments?
No, we haven't got any comment yet. Good sharing. Okay. Thank you. All right. Last week, we got a couple of, last session, we got a couple of good questions in here. All right. Maybe this time, the overseas stocks, Hong Kong, right? It's a new frontier for many of them.
Yep. So if you do have questions and you want to personally ask me, just hit our hotline, and you can ask me any questions about warrants. If you need some reiteration about what we discussed on today, so just call us.
Okay, there's a question here. How to know what is the IV? IV is to fill up in the calculator. Maybe you can talk more about the calculator. All right, so I will stop sharing in here, and after you can go on to the warrant calculator. That's a very interesting point to share with the audience here. Okay, the warrant calculator.
All right. I believe you're able to see my screen now.
Yes, I can see your screen now.
Okay, so if you understand that the an implied volatility actually translates to your price of the warrant. So a higher implied volatility, the higher the implied volatility, the higher the, which means the higher the IV, the higher the price of the warrant. So if you estimate that the price of the warrant would increase in line say like by 5%, and you would also just able to expect that estimate the price of the percentage of the IV. So an IV is actually affected by any market related events or the movement of the market. So for example, Hang Seng IV, for the Hang Seng index, its IV is actually affected by any events in the market, and if there is a demand in the warrant as well. So let's say if for warrants over, I'll go with the S&P 500, C38 just now. Okay, so let's say the underlying level you estimate it to be around 5,300 lah, and you're expecting to sell your warrant in probably in three market days. Okay, so your current IV probably is at 22.5. Okay, so you're probably you expect that the market would move further up, and you think that the IV would probably be around I say expected at like 3% higher or on 5% higher. So maybe I'll just put here on 24% increase of IV. So and then once I've input all my on the field, I have now I have a simulated results. Okay. So you could see that there's a percentage change in your warrant bid price, and also there's a change in your delta as well. Okay, I think I hope I answered the question.
All right, good. Okay, so any more questions? Please put it in the comment. We'll take one more last one.
Yes, Martin. So also just to add that this warrant calculator is just a to show a simulated result. So it's not something that is certain. It's a simulation of what your prices would be at a certain date where you want to sell. Okay.
Now, maybe a question on implied volatility by one of the thing. Now, usually if the market is volatile, the implied volatility, how should we adjust that? Do we assume it to be high? That's my question I have.
Okay, so if the market is bullish, of course, the market maker will be adjusting the implied volatility higher. But how much do we adjust? That depends on the condition of the market on that day itself. So if you have questions on IV for of a certain warrant, say you have a question on IV change for a Hang Seng index warrant, you could just give us a call and confirm with us if there's a change in the implied volatility level. So for investors, you wouldn't know how much a market maker would increase the implied volatility unless you actually call us. So that's a way for you to find out if there's an implied volatility change on that day for a certain warrant. Okay, Martin?
Okay, good. All right, so that's all we have for tonight. We don't want to keep you too long, so we thank you all for coming, and thank you for those of you who have submitted your answers to the shout-out warrant. You will be informed by our staff in here in your Facebook Messenger. So that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for coming. All right, and I suppose that's where we're going to stop. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you so much.
In future Warrant Wednesday. Good night. Thank you for coming.
Okay, thanks, Martin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.